Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC, where you get information that you can use. I'm your host, Ida Crawford. But before we dive in, subscribe to Just Minding My Business on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Share Just Minding My Business with your family, friends, and colleagues. Engage with us by leaving a review or comment. Your support keeps this podcast going and growing. And be sure to visit our website, jmmbmediallc.com, to learn how we can support you in getting more visibility on your products and services. So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use. You know I'm old school. I say grab a pen and paper. Everybody else is get your pad. Well, I am so happy to have Thomas Kalopoulos, who is the chairman and founder of Delphi Group, a 30-year-old Boston-based think tank that focuses on disruptive technology innovation. He is also the founding partner of AcroVantage Ventures, which invests in early-stage technology startups. The author of 13 books, an income columnist, the past executive director of the Babson College Center for Business Innovation, and a professor at Boston University. Wow. Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you, Ida. So nice to be here with you.
So nice to have you. I want to definitely know how you're disrupting the technology because I'm a technology geek. I've been in the tech business for over 30 years. So you talking my language.
It's changed a lot in 30 years, hasn't it?
Oh my God. When I first started, computers were big as rooms.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, you see the typewriters behind me here, just to remind me of how far we've come in 100 years or so.
Yes, yes. It's definitely a reminder. So tell us, how do you do it?
Well, I'm restless and I'm curious. I think those are the two things that really drive me more than anything else. I love to think, I love to explore, I love to learn, and I love to share what I've learned with others. And I think a big part of life is curiosity. If you stay curious, then you have a reason to get up in the morning. And you have a reason to do your work, whatever that might be. I think curiosity is one of the most wonderful gifts that we could possibly have.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is definitely the truth. So, talk about just tell me about you. I mean, disruptive technology caught my eye. So,
Sure.
how do you do that? Tell me how you do that.
Well, so look, I think we're all sort of we're both suffering and enjoying the disruption of technology. So my iPhone, which I have near me at all times, or I sleep with this on the pillow next to me, some it's disruptive, but I can't live without it. This is my oxygen,
Yes.
right? So I think when we talk about technology, on the one hand, we have to acknowledge that it does change the way that we do things. It changes our behaviors, and therefore it is disruptive. And we don't like change. None of us like change inherently. At the same time, when we look back, we think to ourselves, how did I do it without this technology? So the
Yes.
disruption is usually the early stage of the relationship with the technology, right? We're
Yes.
awkward. We're not quite sure how to relate to it. We're not sure how it's going to fit into our lives, like any relationship in life. And then over time, you get to the point, and I think this, again, not to take the analogy too far, but with relationships as well, you think, my goodness, how could I have survived without this technology? In the same way that we say it about a person, how could I have lived without this person in my life? In many ways, technology has become our most intimate ally in how we live our lives. Ask any kid or any boomer for that matter how they used to find their way around before they had GPS on their smartphone. Opening up
Absolutely.
maps while we're driving. If you think texting is dangerous, try opening up a map while while you're driving.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so funny you say that because I remember getting invited to a picnic, and back then the wasn't a GPS.
Right.
By the time I found the place, it was over. I was so upset. And that's when they had the devices that you could buy
The
with the,
Garmins,
oh,
yes,
yes, the garments. So I
right.
immediately bought one of them. And
Yeah,
now they're no longer needed.
that's right. I mean, our smartphones become an all-purpose device. You don't need cameras anymore. You don't need Garmins anymore. You don't need radios anymore. On and on. You don't need laptops anymore. You can do so much on your phone. When I
Yes.
wrote, so my 14th book, you said 13, number 14
Oh,
is Gigatrends, and this is all about how AI is disrupting the world and our lives right now. And one of the neat things about AI is that there's so much gloom and doom that's being presented by the media, how AI will become our overlord and how it will take all of our jobs away. The way I see AI is very different. I think AI will be very disruptive, but it
yeah.
will also be one of our best collaborators. So when I use AI today, and I use it almost daily, it's like having a great assistant that will do things for you that, frankly, I don't have the time to do. It'll help me to better understand a topic by having a conversation with it and a dialogue with it. So if we think of AI as a collaborator, then again, we enter into a relationship with it and it becomes an assistant that helps us to do more of those things that we like to do and less of those things that are tedious and kind of weigh us down that we don't like to do. And I think that's a lot of the conversation today needs to be redirected so that we better understand what the future will look like when we have this wonderful collaborator that will do things for us that, frankly, we don't want to do. We'd rather be doing more interesting things.
Absolutely. And Thomas, you hit it on the nose. I am really, I love AI because sometimes when I need to sit down and write, it's like I know what I want to say,
Right.
but it will sometimes to get those creative juices flowing,
Yeah,
you need to have something to collaborate with.
exactly.
AI works perfectly for that.
It's a wonderful, if you think about it that way, it's a wonderful um, ally to have in whatever it is that you're doing. But if you're a knowledge worker, if you work with your brain, if you think about things, if you write, it's like having a staff of assistants and writers. Imagine when Jimmy Kimmel does his thing every night. He has a staff of writers. He
Yeah.
presents wonderfully. He's got great stage presence. We love him because he's authentic, but he's got a staff of writers that create that for him.
Right.
AI can help in that process. And those writers don't get put out of a job. Those writers can use AI as a tool to make even funnier
Yes.
monologues for Jimmy Kimmel. So I think we have to change the way we look at AI. And it's not a new conversation either. We had this conversation back with textile looms. We had it with factory
Mhm.
automation. We had it in farming and agriculture. The streets aren't littered with farmers and factory workers and loom operators. We repurpose those people into higher value endeavors. The difference here is that it's going to happen very quickly. So back to your point of disruption, it's not going to take 200 years as it did with agriculture. It's going to take 20 years.
Right.
So as a society, I think we really have to stop and look at the sort of inequality it's going to create in our society and how we're going to deal with that, because that will be a big challenge for us. And it's never happened in such a compressed period of time before. So we will be challenged by it. But I believe that it will, at the end, we'll look back and we'll say, my goodness, our lives are so much better because of it. It's
Yes.
not Pollyannish, it's optimistic.
Yes, absolutely. And it's always good to be optimistic,
Agreed.
and always look for the best in
Right.
whatever is presented to you.
Yeah, I don't think it's being naive. I think we have to look at ethics. I think we have
Yes.
to look at the inherent biases that AI can develop. If you feed it information that's biased, it will provide you with information that's biased. But
Yes.
I think we have to be very conscious in how we build AI. But that said, I do believe there's a very bright future ahead if we do this well, and if we do it in a way that is conscious and deliberate. And by the way, with any technology, let's take nuclear technology. On the one hand, we've developed the most devastating weapons in the history of humanity. On the other hand, nuclear medicine has saved countless lives. So with
Mm-hmm.
every technology, there's a plus and there's a minus. And we just have to make sure that this plus outweighs by some margin the minus. It'll never be just positives. There'll always be some
Oh,
negative in
yeah.
every technology.
And that's life. The whole universe is negative and positive,
That's right.
the whole universe. So it's going to trickle down to everything that touches our lives.
I had a wonderful conversation years ago with Wozniak, Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple. We were happened to be at an event and we were having dinner together, and we had this exact conversation. And he said, "You know what? We exist because in the Big Bang, if you subscribe to the fact that there was a Big Bang, in the Big Bang, there was one more particle of matter than there was antimatter for billions of particles that existed. And we are that one particle of matter beyond that we see everything today. The universe is that one little particle of matter beyond the number of particles of antimatter, because the antimatter and matter all destroyed itself. And what was
Yeah.
left is us.
Yes.
And it's the same with technology. It's the same with so many things. We just have to make sure that there's a margin of positive beyond the negative. And if we do that, we move forward. We grow, we learn, and we move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So how do people get your book?
Well, it's available on Amazon, although in the first 2 days, it just got released yesterday. In the first 2 days of its release, it's sold out 6 times already.
Wow.
It sold out so quickly, in fact, that Amazon called us. You know, you're doing something right when Amazon calls you, called the publisher, and said, "We want to go right to paperback with this because the interest is so great." So it'll be available in hard copy, paperback, and the audiobook will also be available in a few weeks' time. So Amazon is the best place to get Gigatrends.
Gigatrends. I love it. Gigatrends.
Yeah, the
That's
the
a
force,
very
forces
nice
that are going to
title.
change the world.
Yes, absolutely. So, for those people that have not gotten the book, what can they expect?
So we look at the biggest problems that are going to challenge us as a global society. So we look at healthcare, the aging of the population, which is a global phenomenon. We look at how transportation is going to change because of autonomous vehicles and the impact that they will have, both on the environment and also on us as individuals. I'll tell you right now that in 20 years' time, certainly, uh, people who then have children who are at the age of 16 or 17 will look back on us and say, "You actually let 16-year-olds drive these things?" Because these autonomous vehicles will be so much better than any human driven vehicle and so much safer.
Mhm.
Millions of lives are lost today because of vehicular deaths and injuries. Autonomous vehicles will change that radically. We look at the importance, and this is one of the critical things, Ida, that I think we need to talk about more. We look at the importance of bringing on board the 4 billion people who today, out of 8 billion, 4 billion people who today live on less than $7 a day. Uh,
Mhm.
Difficult to wrap your brain around, but
Yes.
that's the state of the world. How do we bring them on board without destroying the planet? Because the Industrial Revolution was wonderful at scaling consumerism, but we can't keep doing that. If we do, we'll choke the planet. There's simply no sustainable means by which to do that in an industrial way. So we'll look at how we do that in a way that goes from economies of scale, which we've all kind of grown up with that model, to economies of scope, which are
Yeah.
very efficient partnerships driven by technology. We look at identity. Those 4 billion people who live on less than $7 a day, they have no identity today. They're taken advantage of because they can't get credit cards, they can't get a bank account. So we look at how we'll deal with that by providing them with immutable digital identities from birth. It's a great look at the future and how things like AI are going to help us solve problems like climate change,
Yes.
which we're not going to solve on our own without AI. We need AI desperately right now. And that's the amazing thing about AI is that it's come along at just the right time when we most need to have that sort of intelligence to solve these sorts of problems. So that's what the book looks at, the 6 forces that are most going to shape and change the future.
Right. Right. Wow. That is heavy, heavy, Tom.
It's heavy. It's one of the I had so much fun writing this book. There was a lot of research that went into it, but I learned so much in the process. And Ida, the most important thing I learned is that while there's a lot of reason to be pessimistic, there's even more reason to be optimistic.
Yes.
I do believe that we will make it through this. We will look back and we'll say, yeah, it was difficult, it was tough, but you know what? We made it through and we're better for it. We're better as a global species because of it, and the planet's better because of it, and our children's lives and their children's lives will be better because of it.
Yes. And I agree with you. I see very, very good possibilities. Even though, we, like you said before, it has to be regulated because with anything, you always have people, doing the wrong things with, always. We
Yeah.
always have those folks, no matter what, exploiting.
There's always bad actors. I mean, we see it. I mean, who did not today get a phishing email or a dozen phishing emails?
Right.
Every technology is used by bad actors with malicious motives who are unscrupulous. That's the nature of the world. Always has been. We just given them more tools with which to do that. So yeah, we have to be more diligent than we ever have been.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So you got me ticking here, thinking about the different possibilities because they're already using in the healthcare.
Right,
There's, basically different companies that have come up that are using it to make sure that people have their medical histories
right.
right there at their
Yep,
fingertip. So if
yep,
they're out of the country
right.
or wherever they are and they get sick, the doctors in that country can immediately see what their history is looking like.
Exactly. A lot's being done there. One of the things that to pick up on that, Ida, one of the things that we talk about in the book is the advent of what we call digital advocates. A digital advocate is a bot, an AI, that will be able to speak for me when I can't if I'm in an ER and
Mm,
I've been physically or somehow compromised and I can't tell them what my history is, what meds I'm on. The AI will be able to speak with the clinician, with the doctor, and tell them my history, give them some context, tell them what happened to me, even though I cannot. And I don't have a family member or a friend there who can do it. If you don't have an advocate in today's healthcare system, you're lost. And
you're
usually the
lost.
advocate is a family member, right? It's a
Yes,
son, a daughter, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, what have you. This digital advocate will be with you all the time, 24/7, wherever you are, and can do the same things for you to make sure that you're not an anonymous patient, that the
absolutely.
clinicians know who you are and what's going on.
And that could very definitely going to save many lives, to
Absolutely.
say the least. It's definitely going to save many, many lives because I'm sure there's many people that have been in that situation
That's right.
and wish they had somebody there that could speak for them.
Yeah. I mean, that's already the case. We see AI in very minimal ways. Look at your Apple Watch or your iPhone, its ability to track your heart rhythms and the people that have been saved because of that. That's a very
Yes.
simple application, a very
Yes.
basic technology. But yes, you're right. So many lives will be saved through the use of AI. There's no doubt.
Yes. Wow. I can't wait to get into this book. I can't wait. And again, give everybody the name of the book
It
and
is
where they can get it.
it's Gigatrends. The website is gigatrends.io. IO is the extension being used for a lot of AI stuff. So gigatrends.io is the
Mhm.
website, and you can purchase it on Amazon. You can purchase it on most any online bookstore, but Amazon is usually where most people end up going.
Yes, and since you published this book and it came out of the gate selling hard, um, are you are people reaching out to you to
Yes.
talk to you about what they're learning in your book?
Yeah, well, so it's the book just came out a few days ago, so I've had people starting to reach out to me. Usually, it's a couple of weeks or so before people get through the book. It's a 300-page book, so there's a lot to sort of digest. But people have been reaching out for some of the articles that we're writing. We have an op-ed piece in Fox News that's going to be running, I think, tomorrow morning. So we're starting to get a lot of folks that are reaching back out to us. Many of them are saying the same thing, which is, thank God you're finally giving me some hope for what AI will do. That it's
Yes,
not going to just put me out of a job, but it's actually going to help me to enjoy my life more. I think
yes,
that's the message we want to try to get across. AI is a collaborator, and with it, you can do more things that you want to do and fewer of the things that you don't want to do.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so glad you're bringing out all of the positive energies of AI because that's important. Like you said, the media, it's doom and gloom. I don't know why they like to focus on doom and gloom, but
Well, we love as a
they do.
species, we love doom and gloom. We're attracted to it. We're drawn to it.
Yeah, well, I'm a optimist like you, and I'm a positive person, and it messes up my spirit.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I
Yeah.
can't, I can't do it. I need to stay energized. I always need to have hope.
Yeah.
No, I need to make sure that my energy is in a up place, not a down place.
Look, I think there's a lot to be said for the fact that we have to be plugged into what's going on in the world. We don't want to be oblivious to it. But at the same time, you bring up an excellent point, which is that more than ever, you have to unplug, to
Yes.
recharge, and to keep that balance. I think it's become essential that we
Yes.
all find time to unplug and get away from the barrage
Yeah.
of bad news that we're surrounded with. Again, not to be naive about it, not to be oblivious to it.
Mhm.
We are all citizens of the world, but because we need that positive energy to keep doing the good work that we're all doing as well.
Absolutely do. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And, it's so funny we talking about this because sometimes I just put something funny on
Mm-hmm.
and just laugh. I think one night I was watching the Three Stooges or something, and I was like cackling like I never saw it before. Just to, certain things, you just need to do that to unplug.
Right. Well, it was a different world back then. We didn't have
Yes.
constant stream of never-ending information about every
Yes.
corner of the world. In some ways, were we isolated? Yes. But you know what? I think the human mind can only take so much, and you
Right.
have to give yourself, whether it's meditation, whether it's just unplugging from your devices, you have to give yourself
Yes.
that time to recharge.
Absolutely. So again, how do people connect with you if they want to talk about the book? And then
Sure.
how do they get the book? One more time.
So the book is easy. Gigatrends.io is the book website. There is a contact form on that website, and believe it or not, my co-author Nathaniel Palmer and I do look at submissions that come into that contact form. So if you want to reach us, that contact form is the best way to get through to either one of us. We'd love to talk to you about the book and ideas that you might have or want to share with us. And my personal website is tkspeaks.com. I do a lot of work on a variety of topics as well. I'd love to connect with people if they're interested in having a chat.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Thomas. You have been the delight of my day.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to say, Ida. Thank you. I've enjoyed this immensely.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. And I look forward to doing this with you again because you definitely bring my energy levels way up.
That's the best thing I could hear today. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Thomas. And we're going to do this again.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely.